Hello everyone and welcome to Living the Journey. I'm CJ Sanchez.
And I'm Jenna Harris.
And we are joined today by one of our supporters and one of our followers, Mr. Rick Venecia, who reached out and wanted to share his story with us. This month is Heart Disease Awareness Month?
Yes.
Heart
Disease Awareness
Month.
Month.
Disease Awareness
Yes.
Month. All right, cool. And Rick wanted to share his story with us, kind of bring awareness to the cause, and I'll turn it over to him to give us his feedback and give us his story and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Rick Venecia. I'm from Mission, Texas. 2 years ago, I had a major heart attack, massive heart attack, without knowing that I was ever sick. Just kind of playing basketball, started feeling a little tired and, fought it for a while and finally decided, hey, I'm going to the hospital. And, I won't tell you the details as to how much I fought with my wife about going to the hospital, but, they found that I was having a heart attack. I had 100% blockage of the LAD, which is basically the widowmaker heart attack. And, if you know any details about that, there's people that have this only about 3 to 4% survive. So, why we're here or why I'm still here, I don't know, but I think, some of it is to bring awareness to heart issues and to let people know that, we're not the only ones fighting. And like we were talking earlier, we know people that have it, but we know people that we don't know have it.
Right.
Because there's I don't know, but for some reason people just don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's become, yeah.
Yeah, and what's interesting about you is I'm going to say men in general, they go from one extreme to another. It's either don't talk about your sickness or anything that you're going through because it looks like weakness, or really big babies.
Yes. Yeah.
So your approach is totally different. You're like, let's be proactive. Let's shed some light on it and bring some awareness to it.
And yeah, I mean, we, like you said, we put everything to the side, and you start feeling a couple checks like, oh, it's nothing. I caught air. I did this. And instead of just kind of paying attention to ourselves, it's our body is telling us what's wrong or there's something wrong, and it's a part of our culture. We don't want to show weakness, and if we do show weakness, then you brought it up earlier. It's not ridiculed, but you're like, man, wait,
Yeah, somebody has something to say about it, right?
Like, stop being weak.
Yeah, exactly,
or like,
right.
Oh, that's different. I've now changed my habits because I have to.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I was a beer and barbecue guy. And it's just about every day. And I haven't shared this story, but my original cardiologist asked me, hey, so do you drink? I said, yeah. And he's like, well, on average, what do you drink? Well, about 24, and he says, in a week. I said, on a Saturday, man. But it goes along with the barbecuing thing, and you sit down but it doesn't click to us that, hey, whether we have these underlying issues or not, we're hurting ourselves regardless, and I still drink, but I've cut it down to maybe 1 day a week, if that much. Cleaned up my eating, I've watched Jenna eat, and I don't think I can get to that level, I still have to eat.
No, everyone can do it. So I'm just curious, what is it why do you think it is that we don't know that we're doing this to our body? Like, I know me, and we're all different. I pay attention to how I feel after I eat something, and I can tell what's causing how I'm feeling. But what do you think it is in your case? I don't know if it's men that are, or maybe it's just lack of awareness.
I think it goes back to the whole culture thing. Is we're not supposed to. Our body's supposed to carry us everywhere we go.
You're meant.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And I that's one of the things that when I was telling Jenna after you messaged me, I think I read that, and I know it was like later in the evening, and my wheels are spinning. And Jenna's a morning, not a night person, so I was like, I'm gonna wait till the morning. But I remember thinking, like, man, that for it was really important to me. And really important to us to make sure that we brought you on here, not just for the awareness aspect of things and for you to bring awareness to the heart disease, but the fact that somebody in our community is wanting to share something that they feel is not a norm of conversation, right? And I think as men, there is a stigma of saying, hey, I don't, like, this is not cool, you know what I mean? Like, I can't do this. I can't drink beer all night Saturday while we barbecue, like, I'll join you guys later or something. But I was, we were mentioning this earlier, whenever you are trying to be preventative and you are or trying to now adjust your lifestyle, it seems to bother everybody else more than it does you know what I mean? Which makes it harder for the person to show up to something and maybe have a salad instead of the barbecue and potato salad and rice and beans. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Yeah. No, and I mean, I'm not that person, but the reason that I want to talk about it is because there are people like that would just rather shut themselves out. And to me, the more I interact with people, the more I talk to people, that it'll come up in conversation. And luckily, I have a great group of friends. We've been friends for, I don't want to age us, but for 35, almost 35 to 40 years, and they all understand. It's hard to deal with your mortality, but once you come to terms with it, well, okay, how can I extend it? We just said right now, I'm going to take it again, the your podcast has a perfect name. We're living the journey. I know where my destination is. I know that eventually this is going to take my life, but it's not going to take my life. We're going to live every second as best as we can, smiling, getting through, making people happy, and just doing everything we can to bring awareness to this. You don't have to hide it, but you also don't have to, or you can't just put it away either. Like, any feelings that you have. Right. I used to get chest pains all the time. I did this, I caught air. Yeah, and it's just
no big deal.
No big deal.
So how long were you feeling symptoms leading up to your heart attack?
Like that day, or I mean, I can tell you, I was having chest pains maybe 10 years. You get that sharp pain, you get that dull pain. But it was always something I worked out today, and all my friends are gonna laugh. You're like, you don't work out, but no,
well, you're fairly active. You were sharing us what your
Yeah, I played flag football for 25 years in McAllen Colors and Bengals football, just so in case they're watching. And I played basketball as much as I could. We had just gotten into triathlons. My buddies and I, we did 4 or 5 in 2018, and we were planning to extend and hopefully do a half Ironman in 2019. And then this thing hit, and my goal is still to come back and do a half Ironman. And it's you liken these issues to these feelings, the pains, like, I did something wrong, or I turned wrong, or whatever. It's in the Mexican culture, it's like pescata saire, and so you just blow it off. What we don't do is pay attention to how often it happens. And that's where we start losing track of our body's trying to tell us, hey man, there's something wrong with you. So
is that when you would suggest to someone that they start to investigate a little bit more? Yeah,
absolutely. It's I heard one today where the kid comes up, the burner's on, and he puts his hand and gets burned, right? And mom tells him, don't do that again. Comes back, does it. But if it happens by the third time, hey, there's something wrong. Yeah. It's just, we just need to pay more attention to it. And this is the kind of stuff that's not going to be caught in a regular physical, because like I mentioned earlier, I would go to physicals and pass everything, the fit test and all that stuff. And it's something that if we do have symptoms, or if you do feel pain, or for a long time I would get numbness in my left leg, and I got a pinched nerve, or whatever. It's
things that you reflect back now, they kind of feel like, why didn't I expand on that a little further?
Yeah, exactly.
Ask my doctor.
Right. And that's what doctors are there for. You've seen that commercial where you tell everybody what's wrong with you, and then you get to a doctor and you just kind of not,
Yeah,
we've talked about that on here actually beforehand, and you get there and you're like, I don't know what to say. It hurt yesterday.
Yep, exactly. And so if we have these things and, you know, we talk to our doctors, they have avenues or they have options to, you know, we'll send you to the Heart Hospital or Rio Grande Regional, or to me, those are the two that I've gone to that have had the most information. The Mission Hospital saved my life, of course. And there's nothing wrong with any, you know, health organization. Right. We love them all, but I've had the best experiences with these that I've been a part of. And they all have ways to find out what's wrong with us. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't have to pretend that, it's nothing, because it, you know, in my case, it was a lot.
So Rick, I want to, if you don't mind going into a little bit more detail, when you said you fought it for a while, can you walk us through like what you were experiencing that kind of maybe differentiated between you realizing, okay, this is not just me out of breath?
Right. We had just finished playing a basketball game, and I couldn't catch my breath, and I walked off the court, and I was like, man, it doesn't feel right. You know, it wasn't like your normal out of breath, like, hey, I'm out of shape kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, man, I can't be this out of shape. You know, the kids are super young, but it's still, I'm in my mid 40s trying to catch up with these 19, 20-year-olds, and it's stupid, but that's what we do. So they asked me if I wanted to play another game. I went up and down one time, and then I just felt myself stop, like I hit a wall. And they say it all the time, but it's true, the proverbial elephant on your chest. I felt like my chest wanted to go through my back.
Wow.
I couldn't catch my breath, and so I sat down, and I started like just feeling drained. People say you look drained. Mm-hmm. Well, I felt it.
Well, you mentioned that one of your teammates was asking.
Yeah, he asked. He's a pharmacist. He asked if I was okay, and I said, yeah, and so I walked into the restroom, just kind of washed myself up, and I just felt myself. I threw up a little bit. I'm like, dude, what the hell, man? I'm walking off. My arms start feeling like every symptom that you've ever heard.
Single symptom.
I started feeling the stabbing in the shoulders. My fingers were numb. My jaw. I started and still. I went home. He asked me if I wanted to go to the hospital. I said no, I'm fine. I went home. I got home. As soon as I walked in. My wife's like, "Hey, what's wrong?" I said, "I'm tired." And me, us. Mm-hmm. I'm tired. I played.
Playing it up.
Yeah,
like
that's
no big
it.
Deal.
So I laid down for a bit, and I couldn't. I couldn't slow down, and I mean, at this point, I knew, but
you didn't want to admit it,
right? So I'm walking up and down the hallway, and she's like, "We need to go to the hospital." I said, "No, we're fine."
Had you already told your wife that you knew what was going on?
No, of course not.
Admitted it
of course not. We're, it's
you're invincible.
Yeah,
you're just tired.
At that point, yes,
oh, wow.
you're invincible. I can beat this. So. After about 30 minutes, she says, "You know what? I'm done. I'm going to go to sleep. Let me know if you need me." I said, "Okay." So I showered. I went and laid down, and I felt like my head was going to explode. And I said, "Hey, you know what? Let's go." So when we got there, they sure enough, after about 5-10 minutes of, what's wrong with you, they're like, "Okay, yeah, you're having a massive heart attack." I'm not. I have a high pain threshold, and when the
dentist
obviously you are not human. Yeah.
Right. When the RN asked me, he gave me some nitro, and he asked me about 5 minutes later how I was feeling. What the pain threshold was, and I said, "I'm at 11, man." And he says, "After?" I said, "Yeah." So he gave me another one, and that time I knew, I can't lie anymore. This is what I'm feeling, and it's scary. It's scary. At that point, somebody that's got so much control has had so much control over their life is just completely powerless. Mm-hmm. And I was in ICU for 4 or 5 days, and I've never been in the hospital. Wow. It completely just turns your life around, and not in a sense where material things or anything, but inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely. You had your life flash before you,
right.
man, and that's why I think it's so important. If anything, having this conversation, because I think a lot of us do that. I do that sometimes too, and I think you think you have, like you said, we have control over whatever. Know that if for the most part you're eating right, or if you're doing whatever, you're like, I'm good. Like, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But these things are not. You don't have to. You can be super healthy and super active, and for the most part, check off all the boxes. But that doesn't have. There's no discrimination.
No, heart disease doesn't discriminate. Scott Crane.
That's
You remember
right.
Scott Crane's story? I mean, we don't know where we're at or in that sense if we don't pay attention to the signs.
Right.
My buddy Joke said I would always come in last at our triathlons. Well, because I was only working with about 30% of my heart, so he says,
You're like, try man.
But so it's there's nothing more humbling than coming face to face with mortality. Yeah.
I want to talk to you about your mindset and your outlook now that you know what you're battling against, how you approach your life and different, how you eat, how you work out, how you live your day to day.
Every morning or every night's the biggest struggle. I battle falling asleep because you don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna wake up.
Just an anxiety.
Right, and it's really not so much an anxiety. It's more of a, have I done enough for the people that are gonna stay, to make sure that they're okay. I'm not to say that I'm okay with death, but I've come to terms with this might take me one day, but have I done enough to where it sounds really simple, but when somebody hears my name, will they smile? That's the biggest thing. And are my kids ready? And it's like I mentioned earlier, I tell my kids I don't hide anything from my kids. Ryan's 18 and Stella's 11, and they know what could happen, but they also know that we're fighting every day. And I just stopped, honestly, I stopped letting the minuscule things worry me or bother me. It's, I had, today was a rough morning, and just walked out and said, yeah, you know what, this is,
at the end of the day.
Right, exactly. And the people that are out there,
scheme of things.
if you haven't read Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, it is one of the greatest books ever.
I love that book. So I didn't read it. I cheated. I listened to the audio version. Best decision, because I felt like Matthew McConaughey was sitting in my passenger seat, and he was like, all right. Like, while I was driving a Harlingen. Best thing ever.
Yes.
So yes.
Yeah, no, it validated where my mind was already going. Wow. Where I don't have to let the little things, become roadblocks.
Right, yeah.
I've already beat the biggest roadblock. And it's actually, there's actually truth to it, because there was a blockage, it's
I love the outlook. Yeah, I love the outlook on it, because it's like you mentioned earlier, like something, and we were talking about this, like something's going to take all our lives, right? But like there comes, what a blessing in disguise, if you want to look at it, like a silver lining or a glass half full type of deal, that you're able to make that realization and focus on living your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Today, it's crazy we're having this conversation, but I walked in and I told Jen, I'm like, man, I'm trying to get myself in the right mindset, because it was just one of those days, like, where, after a while, you're just kind of like, man, we let so many things that are beyond our control,
right,
at the end of the day, are not going to make a difference, whether really to anybody's life. I mean, I don't want to undermine certain things, but we really let those things take a toll on us, and that does affect us physically. It does affect our heart. It does affect our blood pressure. It does affect how we digest our food and whatnot. And we've had some conversations with a functional wellness doctor, and I think when you realize like how not everything is in line. When not everything is in line with, I guess, when we're not in line with ourselves and whatnot, like something things start taking a ripple effect. Right. And so for you to kind of have that, unfortunately, that situation, but then also fortunately that realization to live, right, and to make sure that you're making an impact, and that somebody says your name and that they smile when they hear it. I failed to mention earlier, but you're the director of the Boys and Girls Club Mission. Yes, sir. And so I know you're making an impact on kiddos. I mean, that's a big responsibility, right. And so that outlook carrying on through not just your job, but your life, that says a lot about you. And maybe you're the reason why we are having this conversation today,
I'm hoping that, it gets out to somebody. Yeah. That's, I don't need to change the world for everybody. I just need to help somebody understand the world and what's coming at them, and I've been coaching with the Boys and Girls Club. Well, actually, it was my first job when I was 19. That's shoot, I can't even count that, 25, 26 years ago. Yeah.
A few decades.
And I've been coaching ever since, and I went and did a bunch of stuff and came back, and now I'm there, and it's my happiness. And it, knowing that you can help kids, and that you can, if I can bring awareness to heart issues, and they can go talk to their parents, and their parents decide, hey, well, dad decides, like, I'm gonna go get checked because my kid is talking about this, then I've already made a difference in that kid's life. Regardless of what happens at the club, his father is already realizing, I need to take care of myself for him or for her. And that, to me, it makes the biggest difference. It's I know it sounds I don't even know how to say it, but it's
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's not cliche.
Right.
It's
cheesy
not
or anything,
cheesy. It's beautiful, and
it's real.
It's how I believe anyone, whether you're sick, not sick, should live their life. Enjoying every single aspect of it, connecting with people, sharing, loving, just enjoying every single bit of life. And I hope that I do hope that your message gets across to anyone that needs to hear it, but hopefully it will help people just to enjoy life just a little bit more, just to squeeze out every last bit of it.
Every single second, every single minute, even the bad parts. Like, even if when we have a bad day, or a bad moment, you just kind of look at the positive. It's
the growth,
right.
Sit with whatever negative emotion,
right?
Or you can take a shot, and
there you go.
No, but it's. I really don't know how else to explain, other than the fact that we just need to be aware of ourselves and be aware of life, and just enjoy it, man.
Rick, what are some things from that that now that you've lived that experience that people should look out for as a sign of going and I guess looking at preventative measures?
Right. The any kind of chest pain is something to look into. Like I said earlier, I was having numbness in my left leg for some reason. My fingers would go numb. I'd have shoulder pain, and yes, a lot of times it is soreness, or but if it's
nagging or
constant. A nagging or a constant pain, then maybe look into it. And it doesn't hurt to go talk to a doctor, or eventually my goal is to start a foundation where low income adults and kids can have these issues checked, where we can actually take care of payment of bills. I was actually in the process of starting it last year, and then I took this job with the Boys and Girls Club. So this has taken my my 100% attention. But eventually, the goal is to get back to where we don't have to be afraid to go to a doctor because we don't have money. I'm blessed. We and so I'd like to extend those blessings to people. Yes, absolutely. And I grew up low income. All of my kids growing up, that I coached were low income. And somebody told me the other day, I don't know what I said, hey, those are my kids, and he's like, dude, I thought you only had 2 kids. I said, no, I mean, these are the kids that I coach. They become your kids. They become extension of your life. So, and actually they make more of an impact on my life. I see them now, and they're all in their 30s, and 20s, and they have their kids that I'm coaching now, and it's just so weird, but it keeps you going.
Right.
It keeps you fighting, and like, I don't know when I'll get to my destination, but I'm gonna fight every step of the way, and I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of life.
Cheers to that. Cheers to
absolutely.
that. If we can help you in any way with your side gig, we're all about a side hustle. This is our side hustle. It's just when you believe in something, you have a dream, or you're passionate about something, you'll work extra hours. You'll do whatever you need to do to make it happen. So I know that you're gonna do that.
Well,
look at the shirt. You're clearly very passionate.
Yeah, I'm all about the red this month.
Awesome.
It's we have to be aware of things. We have to know what is prevalent in our community, and it's really prevalent. Heart disease, diabetes, all these things that it's exacerbated by our culture. And we don't want to lose our culture, but we also need to know that we can work our way around, you know, the what we're used to.
That was gonna ask you, like, what do you want people to know about, like, what do you when it is in particular, like, our culture, right? And then the lack of being able to bring it up and talk about it. Like, what do you want people to take from what you're experiencing and what you've experienced, and tell them not to feel shy about, or not to feel.
Don't listen to your Tios, man. I mean, to be honest, that is the biggest thing. I'm not afraid to put myself out there. I never have been. I never will be. And if I can empower a couple people to, say, hey, man, this is what I'm battling. Whether it be heart disease, diabetes, depression, anything, we just can't be afraid to talk about things anymore.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rick, for your voice, for your fearlessness, for sharing with the community what it is that you battle every day and what you're passionate about doing, and that's spreading more awareness and shedding a light on disease and heart disease in general.
Please come back and talk to us about the foundation
for sure.
Get that going.
Whatever we can do to help you out.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for having me. Like I said, I'm not going to say how I started following y'all. I got bored and all that.
Can we cut that part?
But thank y'all for having me. Thank you for giving people a platform. Whether it be with the people from the medical field, or just somebody like me that needs to get a voice out and wants people to hear and to gain strength.
That's the goal.
That's what we're here to do.
Yeah, that was exactly the goal. And I think, you mentioned you see Jenna eat healthy or talk about eating healthy or whatever. That's huge. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's huge because Jenna's just doing Jenna, right? And one of the things that when we started this, living the journey and embarking on this, we knew we had things that we were battling, that we're, recovering from, or that we're figuring out, and everybody else is too, right? Yep. And if we didn't learn that this past year, in some form or another,
right?
And some with a more direct cause, right?
Yep,
like you know exactly what it is that you're battling and what you're trying to get past. And so seeing how someone just living a healthy lifestyle kind of interested you to continue to watch and get and hear more about what we're doing, bored or not, it's still making an impact. And you're here sharing your story now with somebody that hopefully is going to hear that and go and be preventative about
right.
Their
but don't sell yourself short, because we followed your journey too, man. It's that's why y'all make a great team. Is you reach out to a wide audience. Yeah. I would never be able to eat like Jenna.
Anyone can eat like me.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think the important thing, and what I'm learning through all of this, is that we're all coming from a different perception.
Right.
Mm-hmm. We all have different walks. And so when I asked one of the first questions that I asked you today was, well, why are you eating like that? Or why do you not listen to your body if it's telling you XYZ? Because I don't comprehend that. As soon as I feel something, I'm like, I probably shouldn't eat that gluten at lunch. Right. I can pinpoint things, and I listen, and I know what I need to do. So for me, it's realizing that we're all different. Mm-hmm. We all have different tendencies because we're coming from different walks of life.
Right.
We all have a different story to tell, and I think all of those stories are equally important.
Absolutely.
And they help with the collective enlightenment, the journey. Yeah, so it's awesome.
We appreciate it, Rick, and
thank y'all.
We wish you the best, and continue to keep us updated on how you're doing and whatnot, and anything that we can do to help continue to spread awareness. Like anything any links that you think we need to share in this post when this goes up, we're definitely
Yeah, I'll definitely share, and I'm not planning on going anywhere, but
there you go.
We need you here.
Yeah, we're gonna have you back.
What's this thing? We're gonna keep on keeping on, man.
That's
it.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap things up. We want to thank Rick Venecia for sharing his journey with us. Please do not be stubborn, guys, women, everyone. Do what you need to do. Listen to your body, listen to your health, and go visit your doctor. We thank you for joining us. We hope to continue sharing stories like this, and we hope to see you next time. We'll see ya.
Bye-bye.
My ending was a little stumbly.
Ah, shit, this thing stopped when my phone stopped. When my phone rang.
What is it?
The backup.
That one's still recording, so we should be fine.
Where did it go though?
Do you want to do another ending or no? I might be able to piece it together.
Was it bad or what? Not bad?
You're the one that's...
It wasn't.
I didn't
Not
think
too
it was
bad. I kind of just stumbled, but it's okay.
But I didn't feel stumbly.
No? Okay.
Mm-mm.
Cool.
I mean, I heard it, but not.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Did you get the